Peace and Black Power. Welcome to another edition of Baba TV, House of Consciousness. Once again, it's my absolute pleasure to be in Harlem, the foundation of information, the mecca of the black world, with these two esteemed brothers, the spokesman for the House of Consciousness, and my big brother Benjamin, who we're outside this very historic landmark, the Schomburg Center. Shout out to the Schomburg Center in Harlem, and brother Benjamin has a lot of important information that he would like to give to us. I want to pass it over to the spokesman.
Peace and Black Power. Once again, it's a pleasure, an honor, and a privilege, a great privilege, to be before the lens of Baba Fire every time. Once again, bringing this information to the people out there, okay? Information is very important, and it is pivotal that we liberate our minds in order to have true and tangible liberation. Mental liberation has to precede tangible liberation, okay? We got the brother right here, my Marzi warrior brethren right here, and comrade in the struggle, my brother in arms right here, no other than the Black Panther, the great brother Benjamin, young brother out here, traveling, doing his research, definitely a young up-and-coming scholar, educating himself so we can better be qualified to edify the people with a quality of information that can really offset the mental shackles around our minds that is really stagnating us from really transcending and becoming a liberated people. I have a question for you, brother Benjamin. Being that we are here at the Schomburg Center, we did go inside and had the honor and privilege of coming across some great information. There's so much information in there, people. Definitely come to the Schomburg Center. If you're visiting New York and you're coming to Harlem, definitely come into this repository of information, this gold mine of information right here in the black mecca of Harlem, New York City. We was in there checking out some information, and I would like for you to share with the people a little bit about some of the information we went over. It kind of triggered a question in my mind. We were talking a little bit about earlier about Freemasonry, the pivotal role that they played at certain times and certain points in history pertaining to black liberation, and why certain leaders who are on the front line, who stood up for this great and noble cause of black liberation, were Freemasons. Why would they adopt to something like that? A lot of people are not really aware of Freemasonry. It's a secret society, so that which people don't know becomes spooky or scary to them, and sometimes they disagree with it by proxy of the fact that they don't know about it, and it's shrouded in mystery. I wanted you to go a little bit into what is a Freemason. Why is it important? Why did some of the great leaders in this black power movement or black liberation movement, why would they join or be a part of such a secret fraternity, a fraternity such as Freemasonry?
Hey, first let me address, this is my first time being on camera with my Mossy warrior brother since we brought him to the team, man. If y'all don't know, the spokesman for the House of Conscience is a Mossy warrior clan member, man. I made sure I had to have this brother because we need his zeal, his energy, and his fire, and he keep us honest and the integrity really high. So it's good to be on camera with you finally as a member of the Mossy warrior clan. First, let me talk about why we here, man. The Schomburg Center. What that say? For research in black culture. That's powerful right there. It didn't say for research in culture. It didn't say for research. It said for research in black culture. If that don't motivate you to get your butt down here and see what's in these archives and these books and all these records that people have donated to learn about your history, I don't know what will. This is what we need to be. We all love the Metropolitan, but I've been to the Metropolitan 2-3 times. I love the Metropolitan Museum because it's a visible, tangible evidence. But after we see the visual, tangible evidence, let's get in these books and see what our great black scholars wrote about different societies, different times in history, different groups, different people, what was going on behind the scenes that's not going to be on the surface. When you get the surface books, you need to go behind the scenes and look at that. So I wanted to get that out the way. If you don't know who Arturo Schomburg is, he's a great ancestor, one of the greatest bibliophiles and activists we've ever had. Arturo Schomburg was a mentor to the great John Henry Clark, the great Dr. Yosef Ben Yakinen, And he mentored these people, and they molded them into the greatest scholars that we've seen today. Also, he was a 33rd degree Mason. If those of you that are not familiar, 33rd degree being the highest degrees within the 3-letter free and accepted pantheon. So going into your question, why did our ancestors join such a fraternity at different times, and why did we have certain leaders that were in there? Let's name them. Marcus Garvey, Elijah Muhammad, Khalid Muhammad, and Asa Hilliard. And I'm just going off the top of my head. James Small. It's even rumored to be Farrakhan. I haven't confirmed that, but it's been rumored. But why would they join this? Because we got a spookiness around secret societies today, right? Not knowing that secret societies is African culture. You go to West Africa right now. I just got back from Senegal. They got secret societies galore. When you talk about Poro, Sande, Afa, Odenani, Ifa, Igungun, Agbani, all these are secret societies as they claim, pagan societies as they claim, that's supposed to be evil, devil, and wicked, right? Fast forward to Freemasonry. What do they call Freemasonry? Appreciate that, brother. Appreciate Black African Power.
Yeah.
Black African Power, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Gotta speak to the supporters.
That's right.
So what do they call Freemasonry today? They call it the same things that they call our West African secret societies. They call them evil, pagan, devil worship, all this other stuff. This is myth, folklore, and it's unfounded and untrue. Our ancestors joined these secret societies to meet amongst brothers to plan ideas for black power.
Come on.
Now, I'm going to give the people something that they can look up.
Wow.
My brother Danny, the truth historian from MBK and the Dagger Squad, will back me up on this. A lot of people know about Prince Hall. Prince Hall, the father of black Freemasonry. They paint him as this guy that kneeled to the black man, please give me a charter, please let me practice masonry. Why don't they talk about the Boston Plan? Now, most people don't know what the Boston Plan is. The Boston Plan is a plan that they put together, Freemasons from their lodge in Boston, and presented it to the government to say, hey, let us go back to Africa where we can be free, citing weather, food, and better conditions conducive to the African person. Wait a minute. What does that sound like? Who followed that blueprint? Fast forward, we got Booker T. Washington. Had a similar plan.
Wow.
Also a Freemason. The plan came through the ages. It didn't just start with Garvey. There were many people that had this plan, and Prince Hall was one of the first people to develop this plan. But where did he develop this plan? Inside of a Masonic lodge with his other black brethren that he went through with. So that takes that spookiness out right there. And that's what me and the Truth Historian are out to do with our new book that we're working on. We're not just going to be covering Freemasonry. We're going to be covering secret societies in general. We're going to be covering West African secret societies and how they mimic societies today that brothers join. How they mimic fraternities that brothers join. Other societies that people don't know, like the Friendly Society. All types of societies where brothers got together to meet, where they knew they could be safe. They knew that the cracker wouldn't fuck with them because the cracker is a part of the society on his end. He not going to come in your end because you're a nigger and you're a coon and they don't like you. So he's not going to come in your end. But he is going to come, he is going to respect your space and say, well, you know what? Let the niggers do what they do. I'm not going to mess with them where they at. So they use that. Many slave revolts were made out of these secret societies and unions. Many slave revolts. Black banks started out of these secret societies and unions. Mutual aid funds where we had to collect money for African burial grounds for people were started in these type of institutions. So, you know, that takes the spookiness out of it. Am I saying that these institutions are perfect? No. But they were brothers coming together for a change and a cause, and it wasn't no Illuminati shit. I keep telling people, black people ain't a part of Illuminati. We not invited to that table. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how much money you got. We not getting invited to that table. That's not going to happen. So this mass paranoid idea of Illuminati and agents, first of all, These Negroes don't know what an agent look like. I'm going to share a personal experience with you. When I was in the military, 2008, I met a real live agent. The Army has a criminal investigation department. They go through every unit in the Army to see if foul stuff is getting done. And I met a brother that was impersonating another person. This wasn't his name. This wasn't his rank. And he was in the unit collecting information. The only reason I found out he was an agent is because he dropped his ID card, and the ID card had a different name on it. And a totally different rank. So the government plants agents in themselves.
They show.
You know what I'm saying?
Checks and balances.
Checks and balances within themselves. The agents inside of the agents, inside of the agency. You know what I'm saying? There's people watching people that work for the FBI.
Circles and inner circles.
You know what I'm saying? It's endless. So that is what an agent does. He gathers intel, but you're not going to know anything about an agent. People that are agents, you don't know their wives. You don't know their children. You don't know where they live. They're not transparent at all. They're very reserved, and when you get too personal, they leave. And one day, they'll be gone, transferred, mysteriously, just leave. So y'all need to quit with that agent stuff, man, and really get into your traditions, because what they are calling the secret societies is your African traditions. I'm not just talking about in Kemetic. I'm not just talking about in Ethiopia. I'm not talking about in West Africa. I'm not talking about South Africa. I'm talking about the continent as a whole had a global type system of what some people call juju. We'll call it voodoo, hoodoo. All of these different Akan tradition, wherever you go, Ashanti, Songhai had a tradition. This is before Christianity and Islam and all the other murderous cults that came into our land. We had these systems for thousands of years centered around the worship of nature and our veneration of our ancestors. And my specific tradition is called Igunguns, dignified ancestor, Orisha, natural spirit. That's what we worshipped from times immemorial, before any of this religion, before they came to our shores. I just got back from Senegal, from Gorée Island. The people will tell you there was no such thing as religion before they got there. They told me that. And the people that are there are still the descendants of the people that their grandmother, their great-great-grandmothers was raped from that land. They still carry those stories. So me and the brother Danny want to tell the story of the secret society from the African perspective, not the sacrifice, plotting to rule the world, all brothers that's in these type of groups is working for the government. We want to take the spookism out of this, because that's enough. That's enough. Some of our greatest leaders. You gonna tell me Khalid Muhammad was an agent? Is that what they gonna tell me?
Some fool will try to.
Because Khalid Muhammad was a Freemason. Now they attacking Dr. Ben because he worked for UNESCO. Don't even know the purpose of UNESCO. Don't even know that 2/3 of the department that Dr. Ben worked in was black. Don't even know that they gather all the greatest scholars from around the world because they knew African history was inaccurate. And they called on people like Dr. Ben, like Theophile Obenga, like Sheikh Anta Diop. They called on these people because they knew they was pseudo. And they didn't want to be pseudo anymore because they knew the rise of the black scholar they was coming for. They was coming for him. And they came for him at the UNESCO conference of 1974 when Theophile Obenga and Sheikh Anta Diop came in there and wrecked shop. So they didn't want to get beat like that no more. You know what I'm saying? So they started inviting us to the table because we was beating that behind. And Dr. Ben stopped being the UNESCO conference chairman in 1970. So, you know, a lot of claims have been made and they're inaccurate. So we're going to take the spookism out of the secret societies, put the focus on what they were there for, building morals, building institutions, building the higher consciousness to go fight for your freedom. It wasn't about, let's be honest, what is the difference between the Nation of Islam and the model that they used and Freemasonry?
A lot of similarities.
Lot of similarities. Even down from the doctrine.
The way they sit with the legs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because Elijah Muhammad was what?
Freemason.
Oh.
Abraham standing on my square. That's a
Standing on your square. That's a Masonic term. So now you see when it starts to bleed through. nation building is our culture, and it was in our societies, and it translated to our groups in the civil rights movement. We did it the same exact way. I don't care if you say it's encoded in our DNA, if it's just something natural, innate in us, whatever it is, this is how we built things. So that's what me and the brother Danny want to tell the story of, and you know, we're gonna do that.
Wow, man, powerful. As always, when his brother. Okay, powerful. Powerful. As always, when Brother Ben gets the mic and unleashes that information, it's always a powerful, heavy gem that's going to be dropped. And just a little bit more information on Arturo Schomburg. Brother was Puerto Rican.
Afro-Puerto Rican.
Afro-Puerto Rican. Because a lot of our people, when I talk about black and brown principled unity amongst black and brown, where we can have that. Some are, oh man, they're not our people. They're, you know, because a lot of our people, because we're not African centered, we don't understand that African slaves weren't just brought to America.
No,
they were brought to Central, South America, and to the islands. In fact, more of them were brought to Central America and the islands than to the United States.
Can I go in on that?
Hold on, and then one more thing. He also was an activist in the Lower East Side. Absolutely. So when we mentioned Schomburg, how he in the early years of Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben, and even the African the Harlem History Club in general, a lot of their roots as far as mentoring traces right back to Arturo Schomburg, who was on the ground, who was an activist in the Lower East Side, a big so-called Latino Puerto Rican community right here in lower part of Manhattan. You know, and he went around gathering all kind of information and archives and memorabilia as it pertains to Africana studies and African-centered history, and he brought a lot of that history here, right here in New York, okay? At a time when Harlem was becoming, going through the Harlem Renaissance period, you know what I'm saying, and an awakening, and at the root of that, in its early stages, Arturo Schomburg was there. I just want to just drop a little extra history on the brother for those who may not be very privy to who he is, what he was, and what he stood for, and why, and look him up, and why the likes of Dr. Ben, Dr. John Henry Clark, and other members of the Harlem History Club were mentored and inspired by him. So just check out do your research on him. We got to start doing our own independent research. It's good to watch these videos. Should inspire you to go back and research the information that we're giving you. Don't just take it on face value. Don't take it on superficiality. The information sounds good. It's convincing. These brothers sound confident in what they're saying. Go check it out yourself so you can know it in layers and in detail, and even on a different, broader scope than we even have the time to convey it to you right now. Brother Ben, go in a little bit more, all right?
First of all, I want you to get a shot of that right there, Baba. That man, woman, and children right there. Now look at that, family. What do you see? What do you see in the middle there? Now most of y'all gonna say that's an ancient Egyptian symbol called the Caucasus, or the Uraeus, what you see on the crown, the great serpent. I went in on that on Sarnetta's couch, Power of the Serpent in West African Culture. Please look that up. But what if I told you that this is not just an Egyptian symbol? That symbol is in West Africa as well. In fact, you can look it up. It's called a fangul, or plural pangul, P-A-N-G-O-O-L. How do I know that? I know that because this symbol is from my native land of Senegal and Gambia, and it is the symbol for their divine spirits, their Netarus, their Orishas, their Loas, their Abusums. That's that symbol right there. So they put in that African spirituality right in your face. The symbol of these so-called secret societies is right in your face, and it's behind the black woman, the black man, and the black children. That shows you how the spirituality. Look at the hands. That show you how the spirituality went with our scientists about protecting our families. I really wanted to point that out before I transition. But what you said about some of our brothers have reservations about some of our brothers that identify with us in the Latino community. Some of them don't even want us to call them that, Latinos. I understand that. Because Latino is basically, we're talking about Portuguese and Spanish and enslavers. So they don't identify with that. I got that. Now, we have to get real specific. Because during the Civil Rights Movement, there were people that called themselves Mexicans that did nothing. There were people of those communities that did absolutely nothing. But we have to talk about the young lords.
Brown Berets.
We have to talk about the Brown Berets. We have to talk about these people that fought with us. Now, specific to my spiritual system, Ifa, when it got ripped from Nigeria and those brothers was dropped off in Cuba, they began relating with one another because they realized they were in the same boat. And they came up with a word. And this word has stood the test of time and now become a system of its own. The word is called Lakumi. Lakumi means friend. But now Lakumi is an offset of Ifa. And the Cubans kept it alive while we were dying. That's facts. I got a lot of info on that. That's facts. They kept it alive while we were dying. So we owe a lot to those Cubans for keeping our spiritual system alive long enough for us to reclaim it, long enough for the Oyatunjis to be built, long enough for Nigerian Babalaos to travel to the United States and start initiating brothers. Actually, some of the first Babalaos to travel to the United States to start initiating brothers was right here in New York. My Baba Chief Adayo, was on the ground. My Babalosa, Olumide, he was on the ground in Oyatunji. When that started to happen, we started to take our sciences back. But they were dying until the Cubans who had been worshiping with us carried it for a certain point.
Yeah.
So we have to get real specific. We have to get real specific. We know that Khalid Muhammad has some brothers that we would consider of Spanish descent around him. We know that the Black Panthers had some brothers around him, and they were freedom fighters. So we can't just, say they never did nothing for us, because that's not true. Black and brown power is real. I don't advocate with us intermarrying or anything like that, but I do advocate that those brothers, they don't like the white man either. So that could be an alliance. Let's get real, man. We only 13% of the population, Sankofa. Right. If y'all want this revolution, this Legion of Doom versus Super Friends revolution that people keep selling me on, where we going to line up and y'all on that side and we on that side, we going to fight to the death, then we going to need some allies. 13% of the population fighting 77% of the population is suicide. Right. I don't care how much melanin you got activated, kundalini crystals, or whatever you talking about. That is suicide. Do you know what kind of firepower these boys got? They got AK-47s. I'm talking about 50 cals with a bullet whiz past you and break your arm. Don't even have to hit you. We gonna have to find a way to counteract that.
Smart bullets that can follow you.
Now let's put a scenario out, because we don't want to work with nobody, right? Okay, let's say that we get past the local police. Let's say we get past the state troopers. Let's say we get past the SWAT teams. Let's say we get past the K-9 units. We didn't defeat the police. We beat the FBI somehow. Somehow we beat the CIA. Somehow we beat the Homeland Security, the NASA, the Army come, the Marines, the Navy, the Air Force, the Coast Guard. Say we get past all that and we win, and we stand there with like 10,000 people. What is to prevent these other nations looking on to say it's time to enslave them again? What's to prevent China from coming in to say good battle? Now come work for us. We got to be real smart about this, family. If y'all really serious about revolution, man, you're going to have to look at this not with the blind eye of we can win against all costs. It doesn't matter what the numbers say. We got to look at this smart. We got to look at this tactfully. If these Afro-Puerto Ricans, if these Afro-Cubans, if they want to help us in our fight, if they saying fuck the white man, and we know that originally life begins in Africa, and we'll support you, put them through a vetting process. Right. Because you put Africans through a vetting process too. That's what we haven't done enough of. So put them through a vetting process. If they pass all the tests, pass the background check, pass everything like that, start integrating them slowly. Or see what they about. Right. See what they about. I don't have no problem with that. Right. What I have a problem with is brothers saying, oh, hell no to the Cuban guy that want to fight with you, but they accept every black man coming through the door. Don't know if he a pedophile, rapist, agent, or whatever he is. But just because he black, I'm supposed to be like, oh, brother, it's all good. I'm not even going to check out your background. That's why we in the position we are today. That's why Sarnetta got people and Baba got people coming on their platforms disrespecting them. acting like they never did nothing for them, acting like they don't owe them nothing. Man, please.
Come on.
This lens right here, this lens goes out to thousands of people. When I did I'm gonna give you an example. When I first went to Kemetic the first year, nobody knew who I was. I was just chilling with Irritated Genie, going to Kemetic with Ashraf Quasi, having a good time. Nobody knew who I was. When I went back the next year, after being a whole year on this platform, the whole tour knew who I was. The whole tour knew who I was. I was in the airport getting ready to get on the plane. People coming up to me, Brother Panther. Oh, I just saw your presentation. Man, this lens is powerful.
That's right.
This is black power right here. This going to people in Dubai. This going to people in Africa. This going to people in Brazil. This people can log on to their computer and see what you saying, man. You got people coming from overseas saying, man, if I could just get to Harlem 125th and meet them brothers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of responsibility come with that.
A lot.
That's why you can't be no pseudo.
Right.
Because these people are listening and they watching.
That's right.
So, man, we gotta.
More than we already are.
My people been lied to enough. So we can't discredit this, man. And everybody out there trying to diss Baba, diss Sarnetta, man, y'all ought to be ashamed of yourself. He's created a platform where we can get our information out there to help our people and provide positive solutions. The Dagger Squad is having weekly economic shows on Sarnetta's platform, getting people's credit up.
That's right.
Now, that's a war many of y'all don't want to fight, fighting with money.
That's right.
The economic war, because we getting beaten in the head with that right now.
Say that right here. And that's what we need to ponder too. We could say revolution, but it's only a slogan, right? And a punchline if there's, in empty words, if there's no blueprint for action behind that to bring real revolution into fruition. Now, when you had the brothers, Garfield, for instance, showing the people, shout out to the Dagger Squad, how to get their credit up. I mean, a lot of people, especially in our demographic and our communities all around America, are in economic peril. You know what I'm saying? Need to get their finances up. You know what I'm saying? So that is an area where we're dealing with resolve. We can say revolution, but revolution has to be founded upon resolution. I'm going to say it again. Revolution must be predicated and rooted in resolution. I like to say resolutionary. We should start saying we need to be resolutionaries so we can really factor in, hone in, and zero in on what the whole purpose of what revolution is. Yeah, we can say complete constructive change. All power to the people. These are things that are supposed to galvanize you. These are things that are supposed to inspire you. But what do we do next? We have to implement things. We have to seek knowledge, quality knowledge that is applicable, that helps us to change things, to reverse situations and circumstances, to transcend predicaments, and that's what we're doing here. So the whole purpose of us bringing this information to you is to inspire you to want to try to see what you can do to make resolutions maybe in your own particular life at first. Revolution, as I always say, starts within and then it spreads abroad. But we have to be resolution oriented. And the root of that is getting quality knowledge that is applicable in real time to change the dynamics that we're in and that we're damn sure facing that is yet to come. So the brother hit a lot of points, man. And I wanted to ask another question, going a little back into what we were talking about in the beginning of the dialogue. We did have secret societies.
Absolutely.
Or we know, or some people may suggest that some secret societies are not in our best interest. Just because it's a secret society doesn't mean that they're really about that, because we know that a lot of bourgeoisie exist in a lot of these fraternal orders. We know that you have the police fraternal order.
Yeah.
Ray Hagen. Okay. You have Ray Hagen. Shout out to Boss Hogg, Ray Hagen. Okay.
Asian
yes. Yes. You have the black boule, whose symbol is a griffin. The griffin is a mythological creature of a lion. It's part lion with wings of an eagle. And a symbol of, if you look it up, people, is he's covering a vase. Vase is supposed to represent something that which is hidden. Something of value, of secrecy, there is hidden. And this griffin, which means a protector or a guardian, that's what griffin means, is protected. And it has its paw, okay, which is one of the things that is used as a mechanism on his body for defense and to hunt or to conquer a lion. He's using his paw to cover this vase, to protect that which is in secrecy by other people. Okay, so you have a fraternal order such as the boule. So we want to kind of you to go in for the people and show the distinguishing. If there is a fraternal order, a secret society, what should it be predicated upon? What should you look at as a red flag, and what should you respect? Because a lot of people, just from a distance, it all looks the same. We can't trust these niggas because they're shrouded in secrecy and mystery. Okay? So going on that, brother.
Okay, what we're talking about here is a vetting process.
Okay.
First of all, you want to look at any organization, business, job, whatever, secret society, you want to look at their mission statement. What do they want to accomplish? What are their principles? What do they stand on? Do they stand on black African power? Do they stand on Arab power? Do they stand on black power that looks like black power but is really white power? What are they really about? What is their origin? Did they maintain their origin? Can you ask questions? That's a big one for me.
It's a good one.
Because to me, if you're in a society where you can't ask questions, or you can only ask questions up to a certain point, and then they tell you just to believe, you're in a cult. There's a difference. There's a distinct difference. So to me, you gotta check what they really about. At their core, at the end of the day, what do they want to accomplish? And ask them that question. Hey, I'm thinking about joining your organization, but I want to know what you guys are really about. And if they give you a bunch of huff, bunch of fluff, bunch of generic answers that's very vague, you probably don't need to join that. They need to give you something that you be like, okay, I want to do this. Are we gonna have an opportunity to do this? I want to uplift black people's financial standpoint. Are we gonna have an opportunity to do that? If it's not a definitive yes or no, you might not want to join that particular society. I don't care what it is. Even if it's rooted in African spirituality, ask them, how can I use this to better myself? And if I put this out in the community, will people start to reform themselves? Is this something that people can take and make themselves better, make their families better, make their community better?
Powerful point.
That's what you got to ask yourself. And that's what I asked myself before I joined any organization. What's going on? When I wanted to join the Army Rock Squad, when I had that opportunity, I said, man, can I get some information to put out to the people to make them critically think and make them uncover their history, thereby making themselves a better African, supporting themselves, supporting their family, and make the community a better place?
That's right.
The answer was yes, and that's why I joined. If the answer is no, or you iffy or unsure, you might want to keep walking.
Powerful, man. And in Masonry, man, is so much shrouded in Masonic symbols in society. I mean, so-called Masonic symbols. Even the Pledge of Allegiance. I don't know how true this is, but when you stand up and you kind of put your right hand over your heart and you're standing on your square, even if they don't call it that.
No, it's not.
It's not Masonic?
No.
Okay, well, I'm going to read something right here. The Pledge of a Shriner. It says, I pledge allegiance to my flag and the country for which it stands. Yep. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Same thing in the Pledge of Allegiance.
So it sounds just like the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag as the Pledge of Allegiance to the Shriner.
It is. They took that from the Pledge of Allegiance and they put that in their in the middle of their pledge. Now, you will see a lot of iconography in different lodges. Now, you will see the flag in a lot of lodges, but it's up to the individual lodge what flag they hold. So if I'm starting a lodge, ain't gonna be no goddamn red, white, and blue. It's gonna be right what's on my hat.
That's right. Red, black, and green.
Red, black, and green. So again, that goes back to the vetting process. Hey, what do you hang in your lodge? Because I don't want to be saluting no goddamn flag.
I want to say something too. And for you, the people out there listening, and take in mind, nobody's doing this to say that you should join a fraternity. Everything is not for everybody. Right. But that is a common thread reality that is in that I get from that is that we need to take our sciences back.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not just about being in secrecy, but there is a need for certain things not to be just openly accessible for everybody.
In everything.
You know what I'm saying? You know, it's like giving a gang member, a 17-year-old gang member, the code to launch a goddamn missile. When he don't even know how to bust a gun straight, he's turning it sideways. It's the same way with certain information that is delicate and critical and can end up in the wrong hands. Right. We know about the anatomy of betrayal. We know what some people can use information to do, to offset and to undermine with. So the whole point of the matter is, if you're gonna join, even if it's a brotherhood, you know what I'm saying? Learn how to have principle. You know what I'm saying? Because the whole purpose of being in these orders is to develop principle, certain kind of upstandingness in society, moral, and then you have respect and dignity as a result of that. Plus, there's also a lot of sciences, high science and knowledge that you deal with. And these are the things I think we need to have, brotherhood and sisterhood that deals with these principles and foundations and high sciences, because they never intended for us to know our sciences. That's why they took it and shrouded it in their secret societies and hid it from us. See, now the things that we need to do, especially, and I call this the wild, wild west of consciousness, where everybody can just read a book or two, get on YouTube or get on their camera phone and film a video, upload a video, and they're the scholar of the year, or they're the greatest scholar ever. Right. See, there's not a lot of respect for information. And then there's not a lot of respect and consideration for true information and methodology of obtaining this information. I think when you're in a brotherhood, you're in an organization, you're in a movement that has a vetting system, like you said, a vetting system.
Gotta have one.
Hold up, that has prerequisites.
Gotta have
that has layers and levels of growth and development that you have to go through and pass before you get to the next level. Just like in karate school, you start off with a white belt.
You hit it.
Okay, when we come in here, we come in with a white mind sometimes. You know what I'm saying? In order to decaucasianize our minds, you have to go into something that you have to go through a process that develops you in discipline and integrity and in knowledge. Okay? Yeah. And then you go to a higher belt, like in martial arts, and then you move up to higher levels of belt till you get to the highest level, which is the black belt. We want to get back into the highest level or the apex of our consciousness. Right. Blackness, you know what I'm saying? Discipline, order. So I find value in that. If nothing else, I'm not a part of a secret society, and I'm not against it, long as it's not against the growth and development of us collectively as a people. As long as they're not playing, okay, the roadblock to the path of liberation, under the guise of we're here for you because we look like you, okay? So I'm glad that you did expound on that, and I want us to take these things into consideration. I mean, like, there's so much information to cover, and there's so many different things that we have misunderstandings and misconstrued outlooks about as far as groups, movements, secret societies, and our community, that it is very important that we don't just talk about Kemet, the Moors, the hieroglyphs, that we cover all things and all things that are relevant and that affect us and that are a part of our community. We need to address these things and edify the people, and that's what this was all about this time. And as the people see, me and Baba, we're not playing, we're going everywhere. We was just in Boston last week. Wow. And it's powerful because we drove by Prince Hall's lodge, right? And we seen the Mason brothers out there when we was out in Boston last week. And Prince Hall is the first African Masonic lodge, like you said, right here in America. They had this charter under the Scottish Rites, and this is back in the 1700s, right in Roxbury.
And what was that lodge called? African Lodge Number 1. They didn't name it. They didn't name it Caucasian Lodge. They didn't name it Friendly Lodge. They named it African Lodge Number 1.
And then another one in Trenton, New Jersey, right? In Trenton, New Jersey.
Right. We just did some research in here. The brothers called themselves Cushites. We talking about in the 1800s. They calling themselves Cushites. And we're going to bring that information out, man, because a lot of people don't know we've always had this connection to go back and reclaim our roots. So from the beginning lodge, African Lodge Number 459, changing to African Lodge Number 1, and then these brothers called themselves Cushites in the 1800s. We always took our African symbols back to the root. Even in Masonic lodges, even in other things, we always linked it back to the mother continent where life began, and we still have to do that today. You said a great point. Levels of initiation and development. In the Congo tradition out of Nigeria, there are 10 levels. 10 levels of initiation development. When you get to the 10th level, you've learned everything that you need to learn about the science. And it takes years. Now these people today come out of nowhere, 2-3 books, and now they're going to tell you about how everything you think is wrong.
Everything's wrong. All you thought all your life is wrong now. I read a book.
But they can't provide you with the evidence to defeat what you already know. Your argument, because you're developing arguments when you're discussing topics, not a real argument, not a back and forth, but an argument like a claim.
Sure.
It should always get past the hypothesis phase.
That's right.
So, okay, if I think Sankofa is an agent, and I say, brother, you used to work downtown at that building with no windows, I know you an agent. And you ask me, how do I know? And I have nothing? This is the hypothesis phase. And a lot of what we accept as credible information is hypothesis bull.
Right.
Give me the dirt. Give me the juice. Give me the unequivocal evidence. Because we got a lot of people getting in front of this camera and hoot, holler, and scream how they going to expose people and all this other stuff. And then when it's time for you to give me the dirt, you give me a bunch of crap that you didn't put together off the internet to try to paint a picture and slander a person with no facts whatsoever. And they run from the topic at hand. They deflect from the topic at hand.
That's right.
And they won't give you no information, and their whole strategy is to discredit you as a man. So, okay, you did some bad stuff in the past, so I shouldn't listen to anything that you say in the future. We wouldn't have not one leader today if we treated everybody the same by that rule. Not one.
That's right.
And he's just the one that sticks out in everybody's mouth. We don't even know what our leaders did before they came into consciousness, man. We don't know.
Or even in their journey as becoming who they are.
There wasn't no YouTube, Facebook, go back 10 years and see what you wrote in 2004. It wasn't none of that. We don't know what our leaders did before they came into consciousness and shed those old ways and subdued those passions, man.
Right.
We don't know what they had to overcome in their personalities. We don't know. But if we want to treat everybody by that standard, everybody just go home and go back to your jobs. Don't worry about white supremacy, because nobody's qualified to lead. Nobody. If you're going to use that model, it makes no sense whatsoever. Everybody has a past. Everybody has something about you that they're not going to like. People's personalities rub people different ways. That's fine. We can learn to work together. We ain't got to all like and love and be friends. But at the same time, respect everybody's lane, man. Respect the technicalities of everybody's lane. People put in their hard-earned money and time and discipline and messing with their families and their children and miss all type of things, man. People know I work out of the country. I'm gone 3-4 months at a time. I don't get to see my wife. I don't get to see my children. But I do this because it provides for them, and it gives me an opportunity to travel to Africa to bring research for y'all. I got a lot of research from Senegal this last time. It's a lot of stuff there you not going to learn in no books. But I'm just saying, respect people's craft, man. Respect what people do. And we need to respect each other more. Right. We can't be calling each other the B word all the time. We can't be calling each other the N word all the time. And we can't be shoot 'em up, bang, bang, I'm going to get in your face. And then when I see you, you're all apologetic. Because that's not going to cut it in 2017. We need to leave that where it's at. Leave that right where it's at, because it's not conducive to resolutions. It's not conducive to revolution, and it's not conducive to us showing brotherly love as black African people, man. So we just need to leave that alone. Everybody respect each other. If you got a problem with a brother, call that brother and have a conversation. And if you can't come to a consensus, we'll say, brother, okay, I'm gonna go this way, you go that way, no disrespect.
Back to the work.
Let's get back to the work. It's too much work to be doing for brothers to be getting disrespectful. And if we're talking about a topic of information, stay on the topic of information. And when you have no more information, have enough integrity to say, well, brother, I don't know. Oh, they can't do that. I don't know. What's wrong with saying that? Sometimes brothers hit me with questions. I'm like, brother, that's not my lane. I don't know. But I'm going to direct you to Brother Wu Jawu, to Brother Sanjetti, to Brother Asar, Brother Sankofa, Brother Shabazz, Brother Fortune, Brother Amin Ma'at Ra. Somebody that can probably explain this a little better than I can. But we don't have enough integrity to do that because I've said it before, I'll say it again. A lot of people get in front of this camera for the hustle.
That's right.
For the hustle. It's not about the people anymore. It's about putting money in my pocket because I've lost sight of what I got in front of this camera for. A lot of people do that. A lot of people do that. So this is why it ties into what you said earlier, the 2 and 3 books. I got to hurry up and get through these books because I got to get a presentation out so I can make some money.
Right.
If you depending on this to put food on the table for your family and you're rushing your research just to do it, you need to do something else because you're cheating the people, you're cheating yourself, and you're anti-revolution. You helping the white man because you're lying to your people. Now prove me wrong on that.
Woo, powerful. And in closing, I want to say this too. Social media is a powerful thing. That lens that we spoke about is a very powerful thing. We have to look at the pros and the cons, okay? The good and the bad and the potential good or bad, okay? Because with this, you can share information. There's ways you can access information that we never can before, that we never could do before. And this is a beautiful thing with that. But because of people, levels of maturity, people's levels of commitment, people's levels of discipline. With technology, you're going to have a smorgasbord of all kind of different personalities using this technology. So that opens up the floodgate for a lot of misinformation to be put out there in a very articulate and passionate way. Right. So what a lot of people do is, if a person is articulate and passionate, because along with this social media craze, this technology, we have people who are developing a certain kind of star status for themselves.
Helium heads.
Helium heads. And what happens with that, okay, they kind of forget about the whole purpose of what we're getting this information for, okay, and what it's supposed to do. And a lot of times people get caught up in what the social media and the frenzy that it causes. Now people can see what you say, not like before, and comment or like you. You can get a cult following overnight. If you're just passionate enough, information doesn't have to be accurate necessarily. The personality before the lens using this technology to get likes, to get a popularity status is a lot of times what people are becoming caught up in. And we kind of subsided from the whole purpose of what this information is and what it's supposed to be about. See, before this, the social media era where you're able to just get up there and be that nigga on camera. Yeah. Or be that instant scholar, just add water, or just add libation. Now you're an instant scholar. You know what I'm saying? Now what that happens is it pushes people to become big-headed. People are addicted to that fame. People are addicted. You know, I think people have a natural inclination to be loved, to be respected. All people. But a lot of times if you have unchecked discipline and ego problems with this technology and the ability to harness the power of technology and a spoken word before a camera, even with misinformation, it can turn you to a monster. And that's why we got to get back to good old down home studying, getting back into these studies, humbling yourself to know that I don't know everything about which I claim that I do know. Right. Okay? We are all being who we are and in a process of becoming who we're destined to be. But this, okay, is a process. This journey is a process. You shouldn't be overzealously trying to get through this journey just so you can sound like you're sharper, deeper, better, and because you're big-headed now, more important than anybody else because you have a cult following. Well, a lot of our people are misled. The black community at large. We talk about the conscious community. Conscious community is a reflection of the black community at large. A lot of our people are sick, Brother Benjamin. A lot of our people are sick socially, spiritually, psychologically. You know what I'm saying? For things that happen in their personal life, things that are just in their DNA, things that they haven't been resolved yet on so many different lines that we're a sick people. Okay? Just because we're informed doesn't mean that we're reformed. We have information, but we also need reformation. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of people are conscious. Conscious doesn't mean discipline. No. Conscious doesn't mean upright. No. Conscious doesn't mean dignity. Conscious only means to be aware. So now you can have a big-headed cycloptic nigga that's aware. What I mean by cycloptic, the mythological creature with one eye or one way of seeing things, or a narrow mind. You know what I'm saying? He's a monster though, with one way of seeing things. So you got a lot of cycloptic-minded people, okay, who have went astray from the whole purpose and point of what this knowledge is supposed to build: dignity, integrity. A lot of that's supposed to come with consciousness, okay? A certain level of discipline, a maturity, you know what I'm saying? Because we're fighting a lot of opposition in the community, in our families when we get this knowledge, okay? The intelligence apparatuses of the United States government. So we got to start really taking this shit serious, because this is not a joke, and this is not something that we should just do for views and for likes and for some conscious pussy, and you know what I'm saying, and a couple of trips and booked hotels around the country. It's bigger than that, because when we do that, with all this information getting out to the people, we'll drop the ball again, and we'll be pushing our people right into the motherfucking slaughter again, by proxy of the fact that we're misleading them. But the power that we do have, the power of the spoken word and technology, and not being responsible, okay, and disciplined enough to guide them, or strive to learn the information to guide them in the right direction for the best of your ability. If we don't do that, then we are partly responsible for the slaughter that's coming our way, okay? Because we're not blowing the trumpet of truth. Okay, we're just blowing shit out our ass, and we got to get off that, and we got to see the bigger picture. The whole purpose of this knowledge is for problem resolution. That's being a revolutionary. Is being a revolutionary. And in closing, anything you want to say to the people, Brother Benjamin? Peace and black power.
Hey man, all I want to say is the brother's on point. The information should inspire you to change and be the best African you can be, man. Black African power. Spears is flying, pseudos is crying. Mossy Warrior Clan up, man. That's it. We done.
Shout out once again to Baba TV, the House of Consciousness family, and you, the viewership. Keeps tuning in. Baba and Sankofa, we got something powerful coming up for you once again real soon. Black power.